Hello, everybody.
Hi-de-ho.
Welcome to another edition of the Jedi Archive Bad Batch After Show. I'm John.
I'm Mike.
And I am Bryce.
This is where we go over the episode from the day before, and we're going to go through all of our things we want to talk about and enlighten you, and hopefully get a conversation going with you guys. All right, let's get into it, guys.
Yep, so this is Season 3, Episode 4, A Different Approach. So Omega and Crosshair have just escaped Tantus on their ship, but it took some damage, and so they're forced to drop out of hyperspace and crash land on the nearest planet, which is Lao. The shuttle crash lands, which means that they'll need some other way off the planet because they're on their trail. Crosshair suggests that they start at the spaceport, which makes sense, right? That they saw when they flew in.
Yeah, and the spaceport gave me a lot of Rebels vibes. Mm-hmm. The way the buildings were shaped, the shuttles, the shuttle bays. I was getting a lot of Rebels vibes in this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too. It reminded me of when the Empire first started coming into Lothal, right? And then they started doing the chain codes and putting.
Oh yeah, we got those back.
Yeah,
never heard chain code in a while.
Mm-hmm. So that was really
cool.
We
got chain codes. What, second episode of season 1?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, back on Tantus, Hemlock is questioning Nala Se, who's in prison now, about Omega's blood sample, which showed a positive match. So Nala Se just shrugs it off, and she tells him it's just a false positive, which is common in experiments, which is true. There are false positives, but we know otherwise because she's been destroying all the samples so that she would never be identified. Anyway, he's pretty angry, and he threatens her life before leaving her in the cell. So,
showing a little emotion there, Hemlock. That's his emotion showing.
Yeah, I don't think Nala Se makes it through this entire season. We know that. What was it? The Prime Minister? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. We know he didn't make it through the first season.
Right. They took her, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's kind of like, they're the cloning experts, but as much as we understand Project Necromancer and what Palpatine's trying to do, I think having no Kaminoans is probably not good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then in this episode, we see lots of different species and droids. Oh, meanwhile, Crosshair, Omega, and Batcher have made it to the spaceport, and there are a lot of troopers milling about. But Crosshair tells them that they're the only ones that are normally stationed on the planet. So they're not troopers that were sent to find them, which is a good thing. They're just the regular kind of troopers.
Yeah, they call it standard patrol or standard garrison or something standard. So yeah.
Yep. And we see lots of different species and droids as Omega's running around stealing clothes because they have to get costumes, disguises. And their first plan is to sneak into a shuttle, but those are too well guarded and they're not able to. Then Omega tries to buy her way onto a ship, but she gets the bad news that it's 30,000 credits.
Yeah, I do like her gumption. She's like, "I got this. Don't worry." Right. And she pretty much found a way on. That she just didn't have the money, but
I think she picked some of that stuff up from. Drawing a blank. The Trandoshan that would always send them out on jobs.
Oh yes.
What is her name? Drawing a blank right now, and I shouldn't.
She's the wife of Danny DeVito.
Rita Perlman or something like that.
Rita Perlman, isn't it? Isn't it Rita?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the character's name, not the actress.
But it's Rita Perlman's voice.
So yeah, I think she just kind of picked up some stuff, from her that she was trying to employ. But going back to like the clothes, and this was actually pointed out by my wife, it very Hoth like, with like the quilted, like the diamond patterns, things like that. If you go look at like a Rebel Hoth Commando or something, it's very reminiscent of what they're wearing, what Crosshair's wearing. So that was kind of a cool thought. I didn't really pay attention to that. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does look like, it's like more of a green garb Hoth suit than it would be, the white that we were used to. So that was kind of cool.
Right. I love all the little throwbacks, all the connections to the rest of the series. I mean, the other
Sid.
wider galaxy. Sid. That's
Sid
right.
too,
Sid.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Other color Barb.
Three-letter word.
Yeah. And then when she gets an idea of how to get the credits, because she's scheming, and I like that Omega's really grown throughout the series, that she's a lot more confident now and taking the lead a lot more. So she's really becoming like one of the regular Bad Batch clones,
Well,
just
they
like
never really give us like a timeline, but for a while she was living in a bar, playing games. So she had I could understand her being pretty skilled at that.
Right. So they go to this bar, right? Where she's gonna win the credits, and she calls it. What does she call it? She's gonna requisition some. She says something
temporarily requisition some credits.
Yes, that's cool. And just outside the bar, there's a little kid selling some Melu run fruit, which is kind of cool.
Again, Rebels.
Yeah, Rebels connections, really cool. And then in order to get the credits, Omega and Crosshair go into the cantina, and Omega starts hustling at the card table, just like she did back at Sid's in season 1, episode 10, Common Ground, which is pretty cool.
For a brief second, when they go into the bar and you see kind of almost like a side profile, like when the droid's pouring that very first drink, right? And then it pans out away from that bar. That, for a split second, looked like Hondo Ohnaka. For a very split second, it looked like Hondo Ohnaka. And I've only been able to watch it once, so I haven't gone back to like actually like stop it at that particular scene. But it kind of had the helmet, the side view of the helmet, so you could only really see like the top part. And then when it panned out, it was like then it that person was gone, kind of thing. So I was like, are they teasing maybe Hondo?
Of course they're teasing. I love Hondo.
I don't think it's really Hondo. I don't think he'd be on a planet with such a imperial presence. But
it might be a weak way. It could be a weak way.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely going to be away from Imperials. Yeah. He's going to be some pirate planet.
Well, yeah. I mean,
or in a brig. Those are his two places.
No.
Yeah.
He's on Batu. We all know where he's at right now.
That's right, he's on Batu.
selling Soviet lightsabers.
On Batu is much later down the timeline than what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, so everything seems to be going well. She's winning lots of credits until the Imperial Captain Man shows up, and he decides to play against Omega. And she was like trying to sneak out, but he stopped her. And he doesn't like Batcher watching, so Crosshair has to take her outside. He does lose to Omega, but instead of letting her leave, he says that she must pay a fine of 10,000 credits because, of course, gambling's illegal.
Right.
So she hands over the credits, leaving her and Crosshair with 35,000, which is enough for their passage out without chain codes and a little bit extra to spare, right? So then they step outside, and guess what? Batcher's gone. She's missing, and after paying the Melu Fruit kid 5,000 credits for some intel, he wanted 10, but they talked him down. They learned that the Imperial...
I think Crosshair subtly threatened.
Subtly, yes. But that kid had some gumption, he stood up to him.
You could see that there was something that was going to go down with him in the episode when they first walked in, because he kind of like looked back like, okay, I think he actually was the one that maybe told the Imperials to take Batcher to begin with so that he could profit from it.
Maybe, because he does give me that Aladdin vibe, which is like a
opportunist.
Again, Lothal. What's his name? Ezra. So Ezra vibe, like young Ezra. just scamming on the streets, little
It was a
street.
weird interaction, even in first place. I don't know what was the point of keep mentioning the credits and then have this happen to me. I was like, why was even wasting our time with that? It didn't really have any kind of payoff, so I thought that was odd that they put it in there. But
I think it's just showing like the economy there and how much the Empire is taking over and how much they take from everybody. And he's just like, I agree with Mike. It's like, or what you said, an opportunist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're seeing all the interactions with the Imperial officers, much like Ezra did, and he knew how the systems work, where he could then take advantage of that. And I think that's exactly what that kid was doing. It's like that planet's version of Ezra.
And also, it shows the corruption of the Empire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even early on, that even though gambling's illegal, he still participated, and it wasn't until after he lost that he wanted to fine her or arrest her. So once the kid tells him that the Imperials had taken Batcher, Crosshair wants to leave the Lurka Hound, but Omega refuses because she's of course very attached to Batcher. So she throws him the credit, says, "You know what? If you want to leave, go ahead and leave." Which he had told her previously that he would leave her, without any hesitation. So she throws him the credits and she takes off to go find Batcher because she's very loyal. And then, of course, he walks away and then he sighs, and we know what's going to happen. But we see Omega get to the docks, and then she discovers a lot of creatures that have been locked up in different cages, different sizes, different creatures, all of them to be shipped off to who knows where. And then Crosshair shows up to help her free Batcher. So
yeah, you could. This part was foreshadowed when you see all the things. You're like, you know that you're getting a Jumanji stampede. That's what's coming.
You could hear it. Yeah, you could hear it.
So
all the sounds.
Yeah, so that was definitely coming. But I like how we ended up going the Crosshair way of getting things done.
Finally, that's right.
I know she's too optimistic little kid. She just went to Crosshair around the beginning, saved a lot of time.
She doesn't want to hurt anybody, right?
Well, not a lot more people got hurt. Pretty much all the Imperials there.
Pretty much.
And then whoever was responsible for all those animals. I did like seeing the Rathtar.
Yeah,
and then, cool. So that was what I, for a brief second, like I was like, what? I'm like, what is that? I'm like, it's got to be a Rathtar.
Has to be because it was huge and the tentacles came out.
Right. I thought when that was going to open, it was going to be that big panther thing that was on the other planet, kind of. But I was like, nope, it's a Rathtar. Cool. I totally didn't expect Rathtar. So I'm really glad you saw
I was hoping there was a nameless in there somewhere. That would have been a good throwback.
No, the nameless are all gone by now.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think
there's probably some Dren gear in it, though.
They're on Planet X. So when they do get to the docks, though, Captain Man confronts them because he, of course, knew that they would come for the Hound. And he tells Omega that Lao has a strict pet policy, and so they had to, capture a Batcher and put her in a cage. And there's no buying out her way out of this mess.
No, because she mentions that Hemlock's on his way.
Right. I don't really blame the Imperials because really all countries have like a strict pet. You can't just transport pet, especially from planet to planet. What if he's got parasites or something? So I don't really. I mean, it's going to mess up the ecosystem pretty bad.
Just so, you can't take pets to Hawaii. That's just
you can't just move them around like that. So I mean, it's as a youthful viewer, like, oh, they took their dog, but like seeing that in the real world, like you just can't move animals and food like that from planet to planet.
Right.
I mean, that'd be a huge customs issue.
Right.
And an ecological disaster, right?
Yeah.
So that's true. So
she's so irresponsible.
So irresponsible. Just like Hemlock told her. So irresponsible.
We just need to juice her and get it off with.
The more I watch these things, the more I realize the Empire was right. Everything's insane. Those darned rebels. So, he tells her, you know what, there's no buying your way out of it. Just throw me all the credits. So she throws and she tosses them to him because he knows that they've escaped from Mount Tantus. And so she throws her credits, and then she agrees that Crosshair can handle it his way. So finally, and now we notice he's not trembling anymore. So whatever had happened to him, he's getting better. So he's becoming accuracy is improved. His hands aren't trembling, so he is getting better. So they were doing something to him back at Mount Tantus.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because at one point when he crouches around the corner and Omega looks at him, I was trying to see if like his hands was shaking.
Nothing,
And I didn't,
right?
I didn't see hands shaking, and so that's why it was so brief. That she's like, okay, he's got this,
Right.
and then she, freed the animals, and then obviously they took that big ship. Which is funny is that that's the same ship that you see on the poster. So I think the ship has a little bit more impact maybe on the series than just this one-time heist, because that ship is actually pictured on the season 3 poster.
Well, they know it's. I think they know it's being tracked. I remember Crusher said they could track it. So once you know something's being tracked, you can kind of set them up. So maybe they use it somehow to set them up.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I did think one thing was pretty interesting is that Crosshair grabbed the credits. I'm like, what?
Well, yeah, you can always use credits.
I thought that was that's kind of just another scene that's either it's gonna pay off later, or if it's not, it's just, I don't get the point of that. So I just thought that was interesting.
No, it's going to pay off later because somebody specifically had to animate that. So when an animator does something, it's very purposeful because they're not going to just do that work for nothing.
Yeah.
Unless it's personal, like the spires of Ariel's castle in The Little Mermaid.
I didn't think we were going there. I thought you meant personal, like adding a background character or something.
So, it was really cool that while Crosshair's, knocking off, he's snipering left and right. Then, I was gonna say Ahsoka. Omega starts releasing all the beasts, right? And that's when we have the Rathtar tentacles come out and grab Captain Man, and that's what he gets. And of course, the Rathars we first saw him as the beast that Han Solo and Chewbacca were transporting in The Force Awakens. Yep. And, he just grabs the captain and pulls him in and
realized that they were also pretty prevalent in the High Republic as well.
Buryaga owns them.
So now reunited with Batcher, Omega and Crosshair escape Lao right before Hemlock arrives. Because he's definitely there.
One thing I thought was really funny, when they escaped, this was another just like a fun thing they added. The Stormtrooper, did you guys catch that? He's like right behind the ship, and you can just see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, crap. And then they gave him a teeny wheel down.
That was blast. And that Stormtrooper was unique because it was wearing like an overcoat. And the way the overcoat looked, I was like, it gave me Wrecker vibes. Like it looked like he was a little bit bigger Stormtrooper, but the way the collar and everything, I was like, it's like
maybe that planet was really cold. They just didn't really show ice or snow because everyone's dressing really warm there, so it's just a colder planet.
See when they crash landed on the outskirts, like there was breath animation coming.
Oh, there was.
Oh, that's right. A lot. It was cold. Yeah,
it was pretty. Because then she kind of she did a little chill movement before she walked, so you could definitely tell. It was not very warm.
I just really got a kick out of that.
I like that.
But
too.
obviously, then I'm going to steal some of Mike's notes here because actually was the awesome ending that we got was coming through hyperspace of how they were going to meet at a remote planet to see Wrecker and Hunter. And that remote planet is from season 1, where Omega saved Hunter and went after that battery that creatures took off there. So that flipped back to a season 1 where Omega was kind of proving herself. And obviously we got I thought it just an incredible ending that even my 6-year-old was in tears because of how happy she was seeing that reunion.
Mm-hmm. And thanks for stealing my thunder, Bryce.
You're welcome.
Because we're not there yet, but yes. So
you're always the last one I get there, Mike.
Ignore the spoiler alert. So they didn't take off on that ship, but Crosshair knows clearly that they can track it because it's an imperial ship. But Omega's already 2 steps ahead of him, and like Bryce has stated, she's already contacted Hunter and Wrecker via a coded transmission,
Hmm.
and they're all headed to the remote location to meet up. So the Marauder's already there when they land, and it's been about half a year since
Yeah.
they've seen each other. So that's a long time. Um, and the Bad Batch is back together again, minus Tech, of course. R.I.P.
But she does not know that. She does not know that Tech's not there.
Wasn't she there when he fell?
Oh,
No,
she was.
She was. She was. She was
Yeah,
there. She knows.
was there.
She knows. Yeah, because
Yeah,
she was
she
there.
was there.
Because that's when they took her. So, and Crosshair, the first time Crosshair's back there together with them.
That was intense.
Well, before they see Crosshair, it was really nice to see how they just they were having that back and forth between Hunter and Wrecker, but then it all just goes out the window when they see Omega, and it's very heartwarming and it's a great scene. They hug. She's got little tears coming out of her eyes.
Oh, so does Wrecker.
Oh, he does. I didn't notice that, and
Wrecker did too. Because as they panned over to Hunter, you see him, just slightly out of focus, wiping his own eye.
Oh, I love Wrecker.
So, well, they have a different bond. The way
a lot closer.
Her bond with each one of them is completely different. Like with Wrecker, it's like they're best friends, and they will.
He's more
go to any length. And with
Sibling.
Hunter and Omega, it's almost like father daughter.
Right.
Oh, and like the relationship she had with Tech was a lot like school teacher to student.
It's funny because she connected to every single one of the Clone Force 99, and they were each training her in their specialty. So she's very well rounded, as a result.
Well, I think we'll get the Crosshair teaching, but she wasn't around Crosshair enough to learn anything from him other than he was
right.
He was thinking he was a traitor, and she never bought into him not being part of the Bad Batch.
And this season actually is the one where we see the most interaction between her and Crosshair.
Luke! We totally can hear it. Sorry.
No, I thought it was something else.
No,
knock it off.
That's okay.
Always when I do this, he wants my attention. He's right.
Sorry,
it's his dolphin.
He loves that dolphin.
His flipper.
And this is my dune bucket. Since we're sharing. So the episode doesn't give us much time with Crosshair's reunion with Hunter and Wrecker because it just leaves it at a tense ending,
which was perfect.
Yeah, that's probably for the best because it's not going to be good, right? Because they still see him as a traitor, although they do have to process that she tells them that she had some help getting to them, and they also they confirm that they have never stopped looking for her. So all this time, they've been trying to reconnect.
They said 5 different galaxies.
Yeah, and then they said
or 5 different systems.
Yeah,
I thought they said
galaxies. The last one was hers that she reached. Luke.
Well, what I thought was interesting is that like when Crosshair came down the ramp, like you could see a really, really intense look on Wrecker's face, and Hunter was just like very stoic. Like he was just. It wasn't really like a scowl, but it was just
he wasn't happy.
I think he's probably going to be the first person to say something in next week's episode. I feel that's where the conversation is going to start with him saying something. But then the look on Crosshair's face when he sat down there too was not one of like I'm happy to see you either.
No,
so
right.
I think we're going to get some big time intensity, and I think eventually, like Crosshair and the rest of them are going to, obviously.
Well, I really need to know what everyone's motivation is going forward now. I mean, because they're not with Rex freeing clones. So what's their motivation going forward? They really need to lay that out.
Echo's with Rex, right? Echo took off.
Yeah, Echo's with Rex.
Yeah. But they have a purpose in life. These guys, like, I almost feel like their purpose was just to get away.
Well,
And so I don't think that's going to be.
I think their purpose was find Omega and then take her back to that planet where they could
100%.
be away
Yeah.
from everything and just
I
live
agree.
a happy life. I think that's their purpose.
I don't think that's
I don't think Omega is going to let
Crosshairs.
that happen, though. I think Omega is going to convince them we need to take
What's the right
Mount
thing to
Tantus.
do. Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where we'll probably get some of. Hopefully, we see at the end really Rex going off with Gregor and Wolf.
Mhm.
I think that would be kind of cool way to send that off to build into that Rebels storyline. But
Right.
unfortunately, that's what happens. There's going to be a lot in between. That's not a lot of sadness.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But getting to the end of this episode, it does leave us where the Bad Batch is the happiest they've been in a while, because they're reunited with Omega. And but how long will this last? Because that's
Yeah, because we know that at some point they're going to run across Cad Bane. They're going to run across Fennec. Shan.
He did say, Hemlock said, reach out to all of our
operatives. Yeah,
operatives. So that's gonna be Cad Bane, Fennec, maybe Boba Fett,
maybe Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, Asajj could definitely be, and that's why we see that what we saw in the trailer.
Maybe it's a cloned Asajj Ventress.
I would really
I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out,
because we know she died.
What Brad Rouse said is that they were going to make sure that the story was told right and it would not mess with that book at all and pay homage to that book. So I'm curious to see how that is, because Dark Disciple is held in high regards as one of the best canon books out there.
It is really good.
So
it's really good. If you haven't read Dark Disciple, please read it. Do yourself a favor. It's good.
I think they're just bringing her in to sell some of those lightsabers. It's just a cameo, nothing big. I think what could be really, really cool is Boba Fett, Daniel Logan. They just brought Daniel Logan back. Could be around that same age as that one kid, Mox or whatever.
Mox.
Yeah. And you think Omega's gonna, if he shows who he is to Omega, he could probably get some emotions. He's the Alpha, she's the Omega. And maybe trick her or something like that. Because I remember reading the titles, and it almost sounds like she gets captured again. So
I wouldn't doubt that.
I think that'd be really cool to see a young Boba Fett kind of like play up, we're brothers and sisters and something like that. And get her trust. She is trusting. Because Boba Fett is like, the first one he calls the Empire, right? The first bounty hunter. So this is where we can see how he really builds a relationship with the Empire. So I'm like, give me Daniel Logan, Boba Fett, and I think this.
Yeah, because I think Dr. Hemlock might even hire Boba Fett, young Boba Fett.
Well, he's got everything.
Do one of his first bounty hunting searches for Omega.
Yeah, it could very, very well could be. We know, during all the comics and stuff, that Boba and Chrysanthemum, for that matter, did a lot of work with Darth Vader.
Right.
Who we know is also at this point, he's
very much intertwined with the Empire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. Even though he still works for the Hutts too, like
that's true.
He knows what he's doing. He
goes where the money is.
Yeah,
he's a business guy. So this episode does end with Hemlock desperate to find Omega, and continue with Project Necromancer, because he believes that she's the answer to this, where they've been unsuccessful, because the Emperor does want this ability to clone a specimen that can support a high M count transfer. So this piece is not going to last long, because they need, now that he knows that she is the key, he's not going to stop until he gets her.
Right.
And so maybe that's their motivation the next couple episodes, is just staying alive. They send all these bounty hunters at them. It's like, keep moving.
And you know what? They don't even care about the other Batchers. They only care about Omega. She's the only one that's a girl.
But maybe at some point, the Emperor himself decides to send Vader.
Ooh, that would be cool.
That would be cool, but I do know he would have to be successful. So I do remember they kind of almost regretted bringing Vader into Rebels because immediately, like, he can't lose. He has to win.
Yeah,
So they need to, if they do decide that he has to be the one, pretty much the one to catch them, they can't escape Vader or get the better of him. He needs. That's the whole reason why Thrawn was brought in, someone to lose.
Mhm.
So I like it. I like it. Just he would actually, and I think that he does catch. I remember reading the titles, and it's almost. I think it says escape or something like that. So there's some titles that made it sound like they get captured.
So that brings us to the end of the episode, guys. What are we? Any last thoughts? Final thoughts?
Uh,
Go ahead, John.
It was quick. I liked it. I mean, obviously, it's quick. We did 3 episodes last week. I, for some reason, thought we were getting 2. I don't know why. And it finished. I was waiting on the next one. I was like, wait a minute, there's only
In
one.
a couple weeks, we do though.
Yeah, we're getting one. It's 112, 112, and then 111.
Okay, so
Yeah, so
next week,
in a couple weeks we got.
Next week is 1, and then the week after that we get a 2, and then 1, 1, and then 2 again, and then 1, 1, and the finale. Which the finale, I don't know if the finale is going to be a little bit longer.
I hope so,
because usually we've been able to have that in the past, where the final episode's a little bit longer. So I hope so.
Yeah, it's quick. I liked it. I did think Crosshair gave Omega a long leash, which is a little surprising, but maybe you know what? She's got us this far. So, because normally I wouldn't think he'd give her that long of a leash, kind of calling the shots almost.
But I think it also shows how he's changing and he's evolving.
Yeah. Well, she's the one that got him out. She's like, you know what? I might as well trust her. I mean, she escaped us. Because it was like, I was like, wow, he's just listening to her. It kind of was like,
after he had said that there was no escape, remember?
Yeah.
He told her to give up.
He's trusting her, which is surprisingly honest. It really is. So I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
And then the ending was just a masterpiece. Yeah, landing on the planet. So I really like that. I give it 5 holocrons. Oh, we're not doing that.
What? 5 holocrons?
We're not doing holocrons. I'll take it back.
Do it. Give it holocrons, Jonathan.
No, I'm not gonna give it.
How many?
Until you give it. I don't if I had to, I'd give it 4.
4 holocrons?
Yeah, that's a high score.
That is
an A.
It's a 5 for you.
Yeah, it's out of 4, right?
Yeah. So I think I really like the growth of the characters, the interactions between Omega and Crosshair, because we really haven't had them interacting as much. Omega has interacted a lot with all the other Clone Force 99, except for Crosshair, and I think in this season, finally, it's taken 3 seasons to get a lot of that growth and interaction between the 2 of them.
It's not for lack of effort, though.
No, she's wanted to from the beginning.
Yeah,
right.
she's always tried, and she's also knew that he was about to betray them as well in the first season. She knew that was coming.
So she's like Jesus, and he was Judas. You know, where Jesus knew, oh, I know you're gonna have to do it, but it's kind of like that. I got thrown off of what I was gonna say. That's right. My holocrons, I give it 4 holocrons out of 5.
Yeah, I'm 4.5 out of 5. I think the ending is what really did it for me, seeing the reunion, and then obviously just the really intense ending to that. I was like, man, this is okay. Well, we're going somewhere. This is going to be pretty awesome.
All right, so those final thoughts. We liked it. It was great. Please comment, guys. We really need your comments. We really appreciate it. We love to talk, especially Mike.
I do love to talk.
We're going to be back every week with this show, doing our best. Hopefully it's very entertaining.
And remember to like and follow our Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page, as well as our YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at virtual.cantina network, on X, formerly Twitter, at Cantina Virtual, on Threads at virtual.cantina network, on Hive at Virtual Cantina, and on TikTok at Virtual Cantina.
It
And
was a
thanks to our sister
combo
pages,
of
Mike.
Mike hesitating and being frozen that just made that so much better.
There's a
But
hezzy.
yes, please check out our partner pages, Star Wars Book Nerds, one of the best Facebook pages, period, all dedicated to Star Wars books and comics. And Star Wars Comic Book Club, selfish plug. I am the admin and owner of that one, where we specifically go on
Only comics.
comics. So,
And
I'm a member of both. They're both great sites. Love it.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
please catch our show, the Jedi Archives reviews comics every second. Is it second or first?
First and
First
third
and third
Sunday.
First and third Sunday.
And
So
we
we
got,
got
one
one
coming up for you in just a few days.
So really excited to share those with you. All right, guys. Thanks for
joining us,
watching.
everybody. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you and